Okay, I will.
And you'll get some really good, and call John
Yeah.
if you need if you need more solid data.
Yeah. Well, because as you know, I mean, aside from this whole energy security, I'm also working some with land resources, which is food, which is water, all that too. And I'm not stopping here with energy at all. I mean, it's all connected, right? So the other thing I was going to ask you is, yeah, I've had this terrible feeling about this winter, just like, oh my God, we talked about the dominoes are falling. Well, this is just going to be like a big string of dominoes that just, reveal terrible potential things, because the Russia situation hasn't stopped, right? And even if he stopped, all of a sudden, you're not going to have this, oh, okay, we're just going to turn the gas back on. There's just this dislocation, that's really hard to wrap your arms around. And there's all these different governments that are going to have different responses, and the whole EU response is going to go by the wayside because self-interest and protecting your population and protecting your politics is going to be trumping everything,
Jennifer, I think that's right. Individual countries are going to have to protect their populations first.
Well, because what? It's survival.
It's survival, and it's really their responsibility.
Right.
And so the European Union is going to have trouble when their policies run against the individual country interest. And you're seeing that happen in these talks that broke down in Prague about doing something about the energy crisis.
Right.
But I think one of the more interesting questions, you're already seeing political dominoes fall all over Europe, just like I think they're going to fall here in the United States in November.
Yes.
You're seeing them fall all over Europe. The election in Italy, just two weeks ago, is one of the latest dominoes to fall. But every election that's been held in the last 9 months has overthrown or limited the powers of incumbency.
Right.
And so the voters, the people, are basically saying to their political leaders, we're unhappy, and we're not. You're responsible,
right?
And we want to see other leadership,
right?
So the food crisis hasn't happened yet. The real severity, people should know what's coming, but in a cold winter, all those factors will be exacerbated.
Right.
The political fallout will be exponential,
right,
from what it is now. So governments are looking for an unstable period. I think they're exactly right. The part that the governments may not be worried about as much as they should be is they may well be replaced by people who have another plan, who have a plan that actually might work to fix this problem.
Yeah.
And so if I were those governments, I would look at all my assumptions that led us to this place.
Right.
And go back and fix it.
Yeah. They got to think of some new scenarios. And actually, I addressed that in my Q&A. I sort of, I mean, all this stuff we're talking about, I've written it, and you're saying everything, and I'm having to say it really succinctly, but you actually are experiencing it in a different way than I am, or that we are in the United States. I mean, we see the writing, but it's a different perspective when you're really there with skin in the game. The other thing too, we've talked about this, the globalization of natural gas, and it feels like, even compared to when we talked in June, feels like the concept of it is really more solid now. How all that's looking, we can't see the really, really clear contours, but all the elements of it are there, and it's like there's this whole redrawing of the natural gas world, and Putin doesn't realize what he unleashed. He thought, I mean, to try to grab that Ukraine land, look at what he's done to global energy markets, to people, to livelihoods, to politics. It is unbelievable, the knock-on effects of all this. I'm just like, just dumbfounded and worried, but
unleash the demons.
Yeah, the hounds of hell.
The hounds of hell. That's he had no idea the box he was opening.
Yeah.
And it's such a time in history, because it involves energy, of course, and global trade in energy, but also food.
Yeah.
The two things that society needs most and cannot function without.
Yeah.
Are energy and food. Now
right.
Think of that.
Right. No, I know.
And that has been disrupted, turned on its head. The world, for the first time, understands that we have a global market for natural gas through LNG, and also pipelines that are very vulnerable.
Right.
As we saw, somebody knows how to blow them up.
Yeah.
Traded the world. So we suddenly went from, at least in the Western world, this sense of self-sufficiency. It was a wild sense of self-sufficiency, because it wasn't real, but a sense of self-sufficiency and opulence for many, now to a sense of acute insecurity.
Yeah.
Both in energy and food.
Yeah. And yeah, in some respects, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are and what your assets are, and whether you have a mansion or a small flat. These are the great levelers,
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I'm so grateful, and I'm freaked out to get to tell all these stories, because, I can see all these dots, and it's, yesterday I woke up and I was just like, with doing this Q&A, I've got like 2.5 pages to try to really focus this attention. And I know that other people answering these Q&As are going to be coming from really different places. They're not going to be coming from where I'm coming from at all. It'll be very much whatever their operations are, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, my head was just, my mind was blown with the enormity of everything and all these connections and just the world woe, right? The woe of the world with all this, you know, and then yet we have to set out to solve the problems as we can, like you're doing, you know, we have to all do our part, whatever that is, you know. And so it's a heavy, 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 heavy thing, you know. But
I agree absolutely, Jennifer. And as I said a moment ago, what we need, I said this in the context of political leadership, but we all need to now look at what's happened in the world and learn from it.
yeah.
What lessons can we draw from this?
Oh, absolutely.
Go back and look at the assumptions that are behind policy, which gave us energy insecurity and food insecurity, our two biggest problems. Let's go back and examine our assumption, not necessarily point the finger,
right?
But certainly political leaders behind this are going to feel perhaps a little defensive about it. But the point of this